Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am Faisal Raza Khan with the PTV World Special Transmission. Viewers, as you all know that soon after Pulwama incident, the false flag operation by the Modi regime, the Indian media, how it was playing the whole story, the concocted story, that was with the impression and with the nefarious designs that India is going to opt any sort of aggression or adventurism against Pakistan. And soon after that, after 14 days of standoff between Pakistan and India, Delhi initiated a covert attack at the dark midnight of 6th and 7th of May. Unfortunately, again that attack on at the innocent people of Pakistan, children, women and elderly. Those were the targets. Now, that attack initiated by India at the 6 places, 24 missiles were fired, and Pakistani armed forces with true bravery, they faced the enemy, not only at the line of control but also at the different places of the working boundary. Pakistan Air Force was vigilant. It was at the combat air patrol from the last many days, and Pakistani brave pilots shoot down at least 5 aircrafts of the 5 jets of Indian Air Force. Along with that, at least 7 of the drones were shot down and 2 were seized by Pakistan Army. Now, the situation is still grim at line of control as well as at the working boundary, and obviously tensions are there at the international border as well. Situation in Azad Kashmir and entire Pakistan is united, and aggression is there among the people. They want revenge, and this is basically the revenge of those who split blood at our motherland. They have given their sacrifices for this great country, Pakistan. Today, in the National Security Committee, government fully authorized Pakistan's armed forces to take on that challenge. Pakistan, when and where Pakistan responds, and it is definitely at the time and place of Pakistan's armed forces choosing. Now, the situation is that according to the United Nations Charter, Article 51, Pakistan has every right to defend itself and in self-defense take any action against the covert attack by Indians and the aggression and misadventure they have initiated. Now again, the situation is not in favor of India at international level as well, because attack on civilians has no justification, and India is always like cowards attack at the midnight. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif just addressed the nation, and with the firm resolve, he has categorically pledged to avenge each drop of martyrs' blood, and said India will have to face dire consequences of this cowardly attack. Along with that, DGISPR also pledged the same. Now, to talk on this very important matter, which is of Pakistan's defense against an enemy which is always there for their nefarious designs. To talk on this very important subject, we have in our studios Dr. Tauqeer Hussain Sargana. He is Assistant Professor at the International Islamic University, Islamabad, and the International Relations Department. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence here. And with him, Advocate Parvez Shah sahab. He is the Secretary General of All Parties Hurriyat Conference. Most welcome to you, sir. Thank you very much for your presence as well. And later online we'll be joined by Brigadier Retired Syed Ghazanfar Ali. He is the Strategic Affairs expert when he will be here in some movements. Dr. Tauqeer, India initiated a covert attack on Pakistan at the mainland Pakistan, along with beyond line of control in Azad Jammu and Kashmir. So it's a blatant violation of the international law, international norms, international humanitarian law, and Pakistan has every right to defend itself. And National Security Committee has given the authorization to retaliate and give a befitting response at the time and place of our choosing. So how do you see the overall situation and the threats which are still persistent from Delhi?
Thank you very much, Faisal, for having me. First of all, I would like to speak on behalf of the nation of Pakistan, who are from their hearts and minds fully standing behind the political and military leadership of Pakistan. And this national resolve is adamant to Pakistan's policy at time of turmoil and conflict, which has always been created on behalf of Indian Hindutva mindset to create instability in the region. Indian false flag operations, when they are coupled with offensive military posturing, they are always threat to regional peace and security.
No doubt.
This is not the first time that India has been doing that. The past is filled and with such kind of mistakes that India, for political gains and diplomatic posturing, has been creating in this region to undermine and isolate Pakistan. But each time India has been facing the hard hitting on its own political agenda. Rather than isolating Pakistan, India always have been entangling itself into the trap which it created for Pakistan. That unfortunate history of Indian false flag operations failed to teach the strategic minds of India that this is not the strategy to bring peace and stability in South Asia. So for that reason, the Pahalgam incident, where Pakistan has offered India the full support for the investigation if evidence has been provided, and even neutral commissions can be created, and Pakistan is ready to respond to all those proceedings to satisfy international community that what happened in Pahalgam. But India, regardless.
But India has some sort of other designs, because that's why India not accepted the neutral, impartial, independent and transparent probe into the Pahalgam incident. So your point well taken. Parvez Shah, you know that India Modi regime is actually pursuing the policy of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and even the Sangh Parivar, and that is basically the extremist Hindutva agenda, along with that terrorism which is prevailing at the state level as a tool of its foreign policy across the region. Not only Pakistan is the victim of that, but how do you see this nefarious design and the Hindutva adventurism which India is time and again pursuing? And especially we know that 14 days back, we know that India wants to pursue such type of agenda in future, and there would be any sort of eventuality or adventurism. So how do you see this overall scenario at the regional level?
Thank you very much for having me here. So, first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me here and speak to Pakistani audience about this false flag operation, because I am the son of the soil and I know the facts why India started this false flag operation and what were the intentions behind this. Because as you have been watching and monitoring that since the freedom movement of Jammu and Kashmir started in 1989, India made every attempt to we can say that India made every attempt that this movement should be suppressed and people should give up this freedom struggle. And at the same time, India understands that there is a strong Pakistan who gives diplomatic, political and moral support to the freedom struggle of Jammu and Kashmir, and it is very important, and until and unless they keep the state of Pakistan, which is a party to the dispute, away from this conflict, from this freedom struggle, India will not succeed to suppress this Kashmir freedom struggle. This is the reason that it has been executing the false flag operations in Jammu and Kashmir. The Pahalgam false flag operation has three objectives, if we understand. Number one, you have seen that Modi government brought a bill in the Indian Parliament that was Waqf Amendment Bill. In Waqf Amendment Bill, they want to take the control of all the properties which the Muslims have in the Waqf properties, especially their mosques, their graveyards, their dargahs, their shrines. The agenda behind this was that they want to bring a board which will constitute of the Hindus and especially the RSS people, so that they will take control of these all Waqf boards. And when we saw that in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir as well as in India, there was a mass resistance to dilute that resistance. This false flag operation was thought out that it
to
should be
malign the freedom movement in the
Number one.
Indian illegally occupied
Yes.
Jammu and Kashmir. Your point well taken.
Now-
So, Brigadier Retired Ghazanfar sir, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for your presence. My question is that you have just witnessed the Indian blatant aggression and the covert attack at the 6 places inside, not only inside Pakistan but also in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, particularly at the civilian targets, civilian infrastructure, homes, mosques and the religious sites. So what was basically the aim or objective of this Indian covert attack, and what would be the ultimate Pakistan's policy now? What would be the ultimate response from Pakistan side particularly on this attack?
Faisal, thank you very much. We've been talking about this. We were talking about the reasons, the causes, and the relativity of Pahalgam with the ongoing situation between Pakistan and India. And Pahalgam, not only Pakistan, but the world said that was the false flag operation. When the Indian Foreign Secretary briefed the ambassadors in Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they called them. So when he briefed, the ambassador asked for the number of ambassadors. They asked for the proof. There was no proof. There may be ambassadors or the representatives of those countries. So after that, the cry which came from Narendra Modi, who is the biggest genocidal person, who is fascist, who is worse than the fascist, who is worse than Mussolini and Hitler. He did bark about this thing, that we will teach a lesson.
He was prohibited to enter into the United States once he was categorized as a terrorist.
Look at his hypocritic behavior. Look at his lies, that he was in Saudi Arab and he came back from there saying that there has been an attack in Pahalgam, but he didn't go. He didn't go to Kashmir. He went to Bihar to contest his address his election rally. So immediately the one thing which came out was that he wants to win the Bihar election. The second is the relativity of Pakistan, the terrorism going on in Pakistan. He said that he will hit these, he will pressurize Pakistan and pressurize Pakistan to the extent that Pakistan will not respond back to whatever he does. So he was saying that we'll hit the targets in Pakistan, and he said he committed, or rather, there was a policy paper which was leaked out, and they said once we commit some attack in Pakistan, then we'll ask our assets to ask our contacts to increase the terrorist activities in Balochistan. And you see, there was a terrorism incident in Balochistan, in 7 of our brave soldiers, the embraced Shah the day before yesterday. That also came out. Then he said that we will, if we attack, we will do it in a limited way and attack those targets where there is something presence of the terrorist activities, and they have, for very long they had logged Jaish-e-Mohammed, because when the house of Maulana Masood Azhar, that's the Jaish-e-Mohammed. There's no Jaish-e-Mohammed, there's no Lashkar-e-Taiba. It was a long time back when Pakistan came to fet up all those structures which were not the terrorist structure, which were the madrasas where poor people, poor children were taught. They were dismantled and there was no presence of anybody in those areas. But he targeted them.
You are absolutely right, Brigadier Sahib, definitely, because it was all preposterous, it was all premeditated, designed after the false flag operation. It was pre-designed, and the raw leaked document suggests a lot really that what actually the Modi regime, Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh and Ajit Doval actually wants. When we are talking about, because what are the objectives of the Indian aggression and the covert attack on Pakistan, particularly at the 6 places inside Pakistan, and what would be ultimate response must have to be from Pakistan now?
The objectives have come clear. You see, since morning, what is the Indian channel doing? What are Indian channel doing? what is Indian ministry doing, what are Indian officials doing? They are only linking the terrorism with Pakistan. They have planted a map. All the channels have displayed a map in their studios, and they have marked Bahalpur, and they have marked Lahore, Muridke, and Kotli, and they're conveying that these were the places from where the terrorism was initiated inside India, which is absolutely false, which is absolutely absurd. So one objective is you have immediately seen is the propaganda. Second is pressurizing Pakistan into a response. And this response can further escalate the situation between India and Pakistan. Because the sister design of India had always been not only in Narendra Modi. We talk of Narendra Modi today, but if you go back to the history, when Indira Gandhi took over and made her first speech in the parliament, when she became the prime minister first time, what was the contents of her speech? I still remember, and I quote, she said that I will not forgive my ancestor for dividing subcontinent. Subcontinent के बाप का था. There were number of nationalities. Subcontinent तो हमारा था. मुगल यहाँ पे रहे थे, इतने अरसा उन्होंने रूल किया था. इनके बाप का तो नहीं था यहाँ पे subcontinent. But they make this point कि subcontinent divide हो गया. And she said, I will not forgive my ancestor for that. I will undo that. And if I undo that, then you think that I'm a successful prime minister. So this desire is transforming from ages, and it has come into Narendra Modi, who's a fascist, who uses religion for terrorism. Any person who uses religion for terrorism is a psychopath. The world has said that only psychopath people are there who have extremist tendencies, extremist personalities, who do not have an identity. As he does not have an identity, nobody knows who his father was, as nobody knows who Hitler's father was. And you see the activities of the Hitler.
Brigadier Sahab, your point well taken. Dr. Tauqeer, you know that after this whole episode of the Pahalgam, India unilaterally, you can say, suspended this Indus Water Treaty. And soon after that, although Pakistan's stance is very clear when it comes to the National Security Committee, Pakistan categorizes it as an act of war if Pakistan's water is going to be stopped or diverted in any case. So how do you see, because India is not only halting Pakistan's water, but just at the night of 6th and 7th, India also attacked at the Nowshera Dam, and along with that the Neelam Jhelum hydropower project. So what message actually India given, and how that message must have to be slapped back to India?
This is a serious and grave violation of Indian actions in context of international law. First of all, we have to be very clear that as a responsible state, Pakistan's concerns are always communicated with the international community, who are the custodian of maintaining peace and harmony everywhere in the world. South Asia is no different to that. But along with that, Pakistan's continuous communication with the international community, the international community has failed to complete their role in terms of pushing India to a stage where they can respect their bilateral international agreements and commitments. So one of the biggest challenges.
But do you think that India is getting advantage of the international disorder?
Yes, of course, because that international disorder is due to the geopolitics. It is favoring India, because Indian geopolitical placement, where the great powers are at the verge of their own competition, which is at the strategic level. So India's placement into that geopolitics provides that leverage to India, where India can take maximum leverage. It is not the first time that India is taking leverage because of that geopolitical fault lines. But on the other hand, there is a community which altogether understands the very reliability of international order in terms of stopping such kind of breach violations conducted by any country in the world, especially by India in South Asia, because this is not the Pakistan's concern. This is concern of those mediators and negotiators and guarantors who have been part of the Indus Water Treaty. I'm talking about World Bank. So India unilaterally cannot, put Indus Water Treaty into abeyance.
Even if any party to it, because this is not a bilateral agreement, it is a trilateral one or a multilateral one. So any party, if going to terminate even, so that needs also another treaty in consensus with all the parties. So do you think what message is there, and how Pakistan has to respond to that message?
India has provided Pakistan an opportunity to resettle the score in terms of illegal Indian occupied Kashmir's status quo, I must say, because the similar agreement that Pakistan has already put in abeyance, that overshadows the bilateral commitments that Pakistan has been managing and rightly, positively continuing with India. So, in absence of similar agreement and in absence of Indus Water Treaty, now the official conduct of LOC is no more there. So, that Indian move is going to challenge the escalation ladder and the nuclear threshold. So, any mismanagement and crisis destabilization by the Indian strategic mindset, which is based on RSS Hindutva ideology, is going to outcast the very opportunity of peace and stability that Pakistan has been committed to.
Let me ask this question to Shah Sahib. Parvez, Shah Sahib, as Dr. Tauqeer responded to it, do you think that right now, the Simla Agreement of 1972 is really in abeyance and there is no more line of control or the ceasefire line? Is there?
The way India has behaved and the way India has acted, it has been violating the ceasefire line for the last couple of days, and without taking into consideration the human beings living.
Because unfortunately, the ceasefire which was agreed upon between both the parties in 2021, that was again violated.
And it was agreed that after the ceasefire that India will sit with the Pakistan and will resolve the issue. If
but India don't want it.
Despite
India don't want it. And after,
several offers
after 5th of August,
several offers from the Pakistan, India did not sit with the people of with the Pakistan, and at the same time it has been committing the gross human rights violations in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Secondly, what I want to bring to your notice, that this is very important. We have to keep in mind that after the Pulwama attack, there was a meeting of National Security Committee of the Pakistan. India wanted to put a lot of pressure. You can say it had put its hand on the lifeline of the Pakistan, that is the water, that is the jugular vein. But even then, the Pakistan did not bite to the Indian pressure, and in every communique, it mentioned that Kashmir is a disputed territory, Kashmir has to be resolved, and whatever we have seen for the last couple of days, whether it may be the meetings, it may be the Prime Minister's address, it may be the address in the Parliament, anywhere and everywhere in the even the discussions with the international players or international diplomats, we have seen that Kashmir is being discussed everywhere, and international community understands that Kashmir is the bone of contention between the two parties.
Yes, it is a nuclear flashpoint, and once again highlighted at the different levels.
These false flag operations take place in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and that is the reason, until and unless you resolve the Kashmir issue, there can be no peace in South Asia. And you have to understand that it is not, Kashmir is not in two nuclear powers, it is between the three nuclear powers, because one part of the Jammu Kashmir is with China also. It has its own interest. So one thing that what I have understanding, that whatever has happened, this sent a positive message to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, to whom India has been creating the confusion that Pakistan has given up this Jammu and Kashmir dispute, and they have no interest. And secondly, what I want to make it clear, sir, one thing important, that Pakistan, the people of Pakistan and especially media, is much worried that Indian media has been creating divide among Muslims and Hindus. And I think India is doing a better service to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, to the Pakistan. If they are creating more and more divide between the Muslims and Hindus, it will destabilize India. It will not harm Pakistan in any way. And lastly, what I would like to add, that if there has been a little sympathy for India in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, but after this Pahalgam operation, when they destroyed more than 50 houses and they arrested 5,000 people.
Your point well taken. Your point well taken.
There has been.
I'm coming back to you with a same question you are asking right now on response. So, Brigadier Retired Ghazanfar Sahib, is India actually attempting to redraw the rules of engagement along the international border or at the line of control at the working boundary through unprovoked attacks? So, what would be the ultimate consideration from our side to have the rules of engagement?
No, the rules of engagement have been altered not by the India but by Americans. You see, when they attacked Iraq, when they attacked Pakistan, the Russians, when they started attacking tribal areas in Pakistan, when the drone used to fly, they used to take the pictures, and there was a man sitting in New York. He was manipulating all the ammunition, and they were dropping it on the on places in North and South Pakistan and in Afghanistan, and they did it in Somalia, they did it in Iraq. So at that point of time, the new rules of engagement emerged out. One of them, one rule of engagement was that the UNO, which was made for maintaining peace in the world after Second World War, started giving chits to the United Nations and the United States and NATO forces can go and attack that country, as they did with Iraq, as they did it with Afghanistan. So United Nations basically became a war supporting and war mongering organization, which it is still is, because it doesn't address the dispute. It only provided chit to the Americans to go and destroy the world. Second rule of engagement which was altered was that any country which, while sitting in their own offices, their own country, when they think that certain thing is being done by another country, neighboring country, against their will and wishes, and they want to undertake the propaganda of damaging that, so they will start using the missile, as it happened in Pakistan, it happened with Iran, it happened in, I said, North and South Pakistan. So India took a lead from that, and India violated that when they did the Balakot in Pakistan, responded after the Pulwama attack. Now they have done the same. So if the roles of engagement have been changed by the superpower, and same followed by the Israelis, same followed by the Indians, so it becomes imperative for Pakistan. It becomes a compulsion for Pakistan to follow the same rules of engagement, and we must strike
Same
back.
rules of engagement. So, Brigadier Retired Ghazanfar Sahab, National Security Committee has authorized Pakistan's armed forces to take response, to give a befitting response at the time and the place of choosing, its own choosing. So, how do you see that? What would be the ultimate response from our armed forces against India?
The response of the same pattern, which was the threat or the attempt which was created by the Indians. If they have used missiles across the international border, we should use missiles across the international border. If they have fired at 6 places, we should fire at 12 places. And I won't go into the details of the target and the type of the target, because that is prerogative of the...
We don't have to. No need of any sort of operational detail, but that's enough really. We have to respond and respond in befitting manner. Thank you very much, Brigadier Retired Syed Ghazanfar Ali, for your candid views. Thank you very much for your presence. When we are talking about, Dr. Tauqeer, overall the neutral international actors to mediate or investigate not only the Pahalgam attack, but that is now the story of past. When you're talking about the Indian military blatant and the covert action against the civilians in Pakistan, do you not think that till now the international community has every approach looks an eyewash, rather than to be the serious approach to de-escalate the situation or make India accountable for its aggression, for its blatant violation, not only at the line of control and the international border against the civilians, but also what is happening in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir overall scenario. So do you think that world is just making an eyewash?
I think we have to look this particular aspect with a different angle, because when India was trying its best to justify a false flags operation and put that act in the basket of Pakistan, we have witnessed that the international community was not satisfied by the Indian propaganda. And one of the report of the New York Times and the Bloomberg, they also identified that the diplomats asked tough and serious questions from the Indian Foreign Ministry, that they need proof. And if there is a proof, that should be given to them, and after that, evaluating that proof, they would be there to make...
Do you think that the false flag operation has any sort of a proof, when it is premeditated or pre-posted?
That is itself a proof that India is unable to provide the proof to international community, and which is why the international community is very much reluctant at this stage to just put their diplomatic diplomatic weight
Diplomatic
towards Indian side. So which is
definitely.
why India has been aggressively humiliating its own strategic culture and strategic thought, which is again putting every progressive approach of Indian history into the basket of the Hindutva mindset and the RSS fascist ideology. So which is one of the greatest and grave mistakes of the Modi regime, which they have been using false flag operation as a pretext to undermine Pakistan and to isolate Pakistan. As I have already said, they're always entangled within that trap that they created for Pakistan.
Definitely, Dr. Tauqeer, you're absolutely right. Parvez Shah, one question is very important, because the people of Pakistan are actually eager to know that after this covert attack by India, India has lots of nefarious designs when it comes to its Hindutva or extremist agenda. How do you see the sentiments within Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir about the Kashmiris? Because after Pahalgam attack, India is using it not only to malign the freedom movement, but also to contain the Kashmiris and to destroy their homes, their businesses, and for ethnic cleansing and genocide. More than 2,000 of the people already arrested in the name of search and cordon operation, whatever they are doing illegally over there. So, how do you see the sentiments, and particularly after this defensive approach, this defense of Pakistan by the Pakistan Air Force, by the Pakistan Army against the Indian aggression? What are the sentiments?
You just note that after the 5th of the August, when the state of Jammu and Kashmir was bifurcated into two parts, India made an impression to the people of Jammu and Kashmir that Pakistan has given up and they don't have much interest. They are engaged in their internal issues, because there was some kind of a political divide in Pakistan.
They have created some false
There was a
yes.
political divide, and they created false impression. But one thing you have to, and people were watching and people were looking towards the Pakistan that it would do something. India provided the opportunity to the Pakistan. I think the Indian false flag operation of Pahalgam, because you have just heard the Karge, the president of the Congress, day before yesterday stated that Modi was knowing 3 days back that about this false flag operation, and people were the people of Jammu and Kashmir are well aware that this was orchestrated by the Indian intelligence agencies, but they were knowing that there should be some reaction and a clear-cut message should be given to the government of India that Kashmir is the bone of contention. Kashmir will be discussed and Kashmir will be decided, and this will bring the peace. Yesterday you have just watched all the videos we have watched on the Facebook. They were surfacing from Pampur area. The people, those boys who were just making the videos, they were talking in Kashmiri. They were so jubilant, they were so happy that this freedom movement, they were of this understanding that this freedom movement has been revived now, and this is being discussed in every forum, at every political stage, at international forums, and they expect and they hope that Pakistan will make this issue that before the international community, that peace cannot be, there will be no peace in Jammu and Kashmir until and unless Kashmir issue is resolved. Because Kashmir, we have seen the Kargil, it was because of Kashmir. Pulwama attack, it was because of Kashmir. The killing of Chete Singhpora, it was because of Kashmir. So behind all these events, Kashmir, in one way or another way, Kashmir is connected with them. But I will say, I will felicitate to the government of Pakistan, the way they have acted, they have not given up the Kashmir, and in every discussion, at every forum, they discuss Kashmir, and they have got a lot of respect in Jammu and Kashmir, and we hope they will continue.
And first of a time in the closed door session in the United Nations Security Council, our permanent representative there, Ambassador Asim Iftikhar, he not only convened that debate, in that whole consultation, but also whole of the world acknowledged that Kashmir is basically a nuclear flashpoint, and the world must have to come together to resolve this according to the UN Security Council resolutions, no doubt about that. So, Dr. Tauqeer, as Parvez Shah sahab rightly pointed out, India's blatant aggression sent to, this is basically sent a message of regional instability, inviting any sort of aggression from Pakistan. And no doubt that both are the nuclear pars, and Kashmir is basically the point where that must have to be resolved, otherwise this whole region would be in danger. So how overall you see the issue of Kashmir, its resolution, and how it would be possible when Pakistanis and Kashmiris are the parties, but also the India. And India, once we were talking about Simla Agreement of 1972, and in that it was a bilateral one. India says that, but Pakistan want that it must have to be resolved according to the UN resolution, and international community must have to step in. There must have to be some mediator. How do you see overall situation in the current scenario?
Not only in the current scenario, but keeping in view the history of Indian mindset. They are not respectful to their international commitments, nor they are respectful to international law. They have been...
They always disrespect international law and even
disrespect,
the international commitments.
Their bilateral commitments, their multilateral commitments, their international commitments, they are not a country that can be believed by the international community that their actions are responsible, their commitments are responsible, and their negotiations for the sake of peace and stability for the region are sensible. They are not, because of keeping in view their actions. I believe that, and I most of the time think that the way India is behaving in this region, it is not only Pakistan that is having problems towards India, or or the Kashmiris are having day-to-day basis, night-to-night basis, facing that atrocity and that human rights grave violations by the Indian forces, around 1 million force operational in India. I look at internal dynamics of India. Look at the Sikhs, look at the Tamils, look at the other 7 sister states,
Naxalites, even Maos, and all others. Even in East Bengal, in 7 sister states, the Mizoram, Tripura, Manipur, Nagaland, Assam, everywhere there is a resentment, and they want freedom from India.
Look at the regional discourse. Look at Nepal, look at Sri Lanka, look at Bhutan, Maldives, Bangladesh.
All are the victims of Indian state-sponsored terrorism.
State-sponsored terrorism, and their terrorism is not limited to their own country, against their own nation. Their terrorism is spread around the region. They have been found doing terrorism in Canada, in United States of America, and elsewhere in the world.
In UK and Australia and New Zealand, because the 5 I report is very clear on that. And the last US National Security Advisor, Jack Sullivan, he was open to say that India is inflicting terrorism, designing these all covert operations within the independent countries, and no doubt about that, because Hardeep Singh Najjar was the victim of Indian terrorism in Canada, and Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, he attempted murder on him, and the case is still there in United States, no doubt about that.
And even Kulbhushan Yadav, look at him, and
the living example of Indian terrorism in Pakistan.
So that burden of insurgency, infiltration, aggression, false flag operations, how long India can tolerate that? How long India can sustain with that? I doubt.
Even the international system is not going to tolerate it. It is just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time.
No doubt about that. Parvez Shah, let's come to the Azad Kashmir, because Muzaffarabad, Kotli, and some other areas were the victim of Indian aggression in the covert attack last night. And also, the line of control, Pakistani brave hearts are still fighting the Indian unprovoked firing and blatant violations of the ceasefire agreement and all that. So how do you see that this escalation at the line of control, and how do you see the Indian response overall, and what could be the ultimate result of that? What Azad Kashmir people are actually thinking about that?
I think the way Indian troops yesterday behaved, and they made the people of civilians of Azad Kashmir as the victims, I think that has united Azad Kashmir also. In the past, we have seen that the people were on the streets just asking for electricity, for atta, for subsidies. But I have been to Azad Kashmir 2 days back, and I saw when there was an escalation and the warmongering on the part of the India. I talked to everybody.
Entire atmosphere is now entirely changed.
Nobody is asking for any favor, and people are just talking. We are with the state of Pakistan, we are behind the armed forces of Pakistan, and they want to take revenge from India, and they have united. I say that the situation which has developed for the last 2 or 3 days, it has not only sent a positive message to Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, it has even united the Azad Kashmir. We have seen in since morning, we have been seeing that people of Azad Kashmir are on the streets. They are supporting in favor of Pakistan. They are raising slogans against India in favor of Pakistan army. So this has united AJK. This has united the nation of Pakistan. It has sent a positive message to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. It has sent a strong message to United Nations. One thing from this platform, we would like to convey a message to India that United Nations Security Council resolutions, this is not the solution, this is a procedure. Nowhere it is written that if these resolutions are implemented, the state of Jammu and Kashmir will be given to Pakistan. It is a procedure. So if India has the understanding, if they believe that people of Jammu and Kashmir are with them, let them go for the referendum.
This is the point, no doubt about that. Thank you very much, Parvez Shah sahab, for your presence here in the studios. Thank you very much, Dr. Tauqeer, for your presence. And we are thankful to Brigadier Retired Syed Ghazanfar Ali as well for his candid views. Thank you very much for that. Viewers, it is loud and clear that Pakistan will never ever compromise on its sovereignty, integrity and independence. And Pakistani armed forces are always ready to have a befitting response to India about Indian aggression and Indian terrorism which is going on, the state-sponsored terrorism as a tool of its foreign policy inside Pakistan. Pakistan will respond at the time and place of its choosing, and India must have to wait for that. On that account, India never ever pressurized Pakistan, because Pakistan is a sovereign and independent country. Under the UN Charter, every country has the right of self-defense under the Article 51, and there is no doubt about this, that whenever India has given a signal to initiate any sort of a water war against Pakistan, Pakistan is a very responsible country, but Pakistan will never ever compromise at the lifeline of its nation of 240 million people. Pakistan will respond, and Pakistan has already announced that it is going to be an act of war, and Pakistan will respond with the full spectrum of its entire national power. What it means, India must have to realize it. And the position of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan is loud and clear. Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is an issue which is pending in the history, and Pakistan wants to resolve it peacefully. If India don't want, then Pakistani nation and even the people of Azad Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistanis and Kashmiris across the world, they are all ready for any sort of eventuality. And it is loud and clear, and this message also go across from the line of control that our brothers and sisters there in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, they must remember that freedom is not an easy task. For that one, we have to sacrifice, and sacrifice as a nation. And as a nation, we are united under one flag, and that is the green one. And we are ready for any sort of aggression what India is actually implicating on Pakistan. It is loud and clear that India has given us a golden opportunity of the history, that India is right now weaker at each and every position. And we have witnessed yesterday how Indian most latest fighters were just shot down, and even the drones and all others. Pakistani brave forces, Pakistani pilots, Pakistani armed forces were totally in control of Indian army, and Pakistani nation is united against any aggression which would be initiated from India, and Pakistan will give a befitting response as the National Security Committee has envisaged each and every authorization to the armed forces. Now it's Indian turn to just wait for our response. It is. Thank you very much. This is all from today's special transmission from the PTV world.